Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of TLFC. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 2024 MLS season, which actually kicks off in a few days. So it starts next week on Wednesday, February the 21st, and Inter Miami is going to be taking on Real Salt Lake to start off the year. So I figured that this would be a good time for us to take some 2024 season predictions. First, I'm going to give my predictions for the Eastern and Western Conference regular season standings, and then I'll dive into the playoffs and give my prediction for the 2024 MLS Cup champions. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around the MLS this year, with Lionel Messi playing his first full season and being joined by another ex-Barcelona teammate, Uruguayan international Luis Suarez. But anyway, you're going to hear a lot about Inter Miami this year. This video is not necessarily about them, so let's go ahead and get into some 2024 predictions. But before we do, here's a quick look at the 2023 MLS regular season final standings. So you can use this as a reference point, and you'll see that St. Louis City was the first place team in the West last year, and FC Cincinnati was the first place team in the East. But all right, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and dive in and see how these tables change for the 2024 year. So first off, we have the Eastern Conference. In 15th place, last place in the East, we have Toronto FC. I think Toronto is in for another tough season in 2024. With far more departures than arrivals and lackluster performances from their designated players who both seemingly want out, it looks like another year in the mud for the Reds. In 14th place, we have DC United. I think things might get a little worse for DC United this season than they were last season, believe it or not, because they have no new signings of note. They have a new manager with the departure of Wayne Rooney and will likely rely on 33-year-old Christian Benteke to score most of their goals this season. In 13th place, we have Chicago Fire. Chicago does have a new arrival in Hugo Kuipers from Belgian side Ghent, but also lost Jairo Torreser. It's not enough, and I see another year at the bottom for the Fire, coming in at 13th place. In 12th place, we have Charlotte FC. I think a quote from their coach Dean Smith from this preseason sums up pretty much what we're looking at with Charlotte FC. Here's the quote: "We're making strides, but there's still much work to be done. Continuous growth and development will be key throughout the season."
Thanks for the pep talk, Pissant.
In 11th, we got CF Montreal. I was in a bit of a quandary with Montreal. Oddsmakers have them extremely low, but I honestly think they can make some noise this season, especially adding Josef Martinez. That doesn't hurt. They may surprise me and make the playoffs, but I have them at 11th for now. At 10th, we have New York City FC. NYCFC has some great young talent and is one of the better run club systems in MLS. I think they still lack some of that 2021 magic when they won the championship, and they'll struggle this season. They have no major signings of note, so I'm expecting NYCFC to miss the playoffs. At 9th, we got Nashville SC. Nashville relies heavily on Hani Mukhtar, and if he's off, they are off. They have a talented squad and are well coached, so I see them just eking into the playoffs again this season, but like I said, it really hinges on Mukhtar. 8th place, New England Revolution. This is one of the most exciting young teams in the league and could easily finish above 8. Keep an eye out for Badrick Terovic and Paniatu, some of the young players with the potential on this team. In 7th place, we got the New York Red Bulls. I think the Red Bulls finish one place higher this season at 7 with the transfer of Emil Forsberg from Leipzig. But I don't expect fireworks in 2024, so I think they'll stay right around where they were last season. At 6th place, we got Atlanta United. Atlanta lost some key players in the transfer window, most notably defender Miles Robinson, the US international. But I still expect them to form one of the league's most potent attacks, with them being the league's second highest scoring team in 2023 with 66 goals and not losing any majorly key offensive players. In 5th place, I've got Orlando City SC. Orlando brought in Nico Ladero to shore up some of their midfield issues, but I see them slipping from their solid form of 2023 and their 2nd place finish to a 5th place finish in the East. In 4th place, I have Philadelphia Union, who in my opinion is one of the best run franchises in the MLS. I see Philly coming back with a vengeance, led by some of their really strong young talent, players like Jack McGlynn. In 3rd place, I have Inter Miami. Now this might come as a surprise to you all, considering the absurdity of talent on Miami, but I don't see them winning the most games in the East this season. I honestly see them coasting a little bit, trying to stay healthy, and turning it on in the playoffs. Just my prediction. In second place, I got FC Cincinnati. I have last year's Eastern Conference champions at second place this season. Sure, they brought in Miles Robinson, but I think they're going to be missing the 10 goals / assists from Brennan Vazquez, and I'm not sure that Corey Baird will fill that hole. And then at first place in the East, I have the Columbus Crew. I think the Columbus Crew is going to prove that they are the champions for a reason this year. I expect them to jump up a couple spots from their third place 2023 campaign and finish first in the East this season. They're very well coached and just have a solid team that really plays well together. So now on to the Western Conference. So in 14th place, I got the Colorado Rapids. Sure, the Rapids brought in a couple US internationals in Zach Steffen and Jordy Mihailovic, but there is a reason Vegas odds makers have them at plus 10,000, and they are the longest shot to win the MLS Cup this season. In 13th place, I have Austin FC. With no notable incoming transfers and quite a few players going out, I think the old Verde and Black, well, the young Verde and Black, might be in for a tough year in 2024. In 12th place, I have San Jose Earthquakes. Losing your most talented young player to Liga MX doesn't bode well for your season, especially when you just barely made the playoffs in 2023. In 11th, I have the LA Galaxy. The Galaxy finished 2023 second to last in the West. They're a side that really doesn't struggle to put the ball in the net, so I expect them to shore up some defensive woes and rise and finish 2 spots higher this year. In 10th place, I have Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake has lost a ton of players this season to transfers and contract expirations. They lost big goal scorers in Krylak, Savarino, and Musovski, and I expect that to show up big time. I expect them to drop from 5th last year to 10th this year. In 9th, we have Minnesota United. I think Minnesota United has maintained the status quo from 2023 going into 2024. They rely heavily on Finnish international Teemu Pukki and South African Bongokule Hlongwane. An injury to either player could destroy their season. In 8th place, I have the Portland Timbers. I think Portland is another team that will finish just a little higher than last season and sneak into the playoffs. They have a great fan base, and I think that always helps keep them competitive, especially in their home games. At 7th, I have Sporting Kansas City. I have Sporting finishing in the exact same spot as last season, with no overly notable acquisitions and really only losing older club legend Graham Zusi. I expect a similar year in 2024. In 6th, I have FC Dallas. FC Dallas is another team I'm keeping in the same slot as 2023. FC Dallas has brought in a lot of players and has no notable losses. They have a talented roster with some US internationals, but they seem to be unable to get over the hump. In 5th place, we have Houston Dynamo. I think the loss of Cody Baird is going to hurt Houston a little bit, but overall, they are a solid team. I think they dropped 1 spot from last season and finish in 5th. In 4th place, we have the Vancouver Whitecaps. I expect Vancouver to get a lot better this year. By bringing in some extra goals from Damir Krylak, I think they'll jump from 6th last year to 4th this year. They've had no major roster losses besides maybe Simon Beecher, and the blue and white could be dangerous. At 3rd place, I have St. Louis FC. St. Louis had an amazing inaugural season, finishing 1st in the West last year, but I expect a sophomore slump and for them to drop to 3rd, especially with the loss of Nicholas Gioacchini and his 10 goals in all competitions. Number 2, I have LAFC. LAFC always seems to find a way to stay competitive, don't they? Bringing Hugo Lloris into the goal was a huge move, and even though Carlos Vela's future is in question at the moment, I think they may find a way to retain him. But honestly, as long as Bouanga keeps pouring in goals, they're gonna be fine. And in 1st place in the West this year, I have the Seattle Sounders. The Sounders are just as dangerous as last year and have a great chance at finishing 1st in the West. The signing of Danny Musovski really helps keep them a goal-scoring threat and dangerous against any team they face in 2024. I genuinely expect the Seattle Sounders to grind their way to a 1st place finish in the West in 2024. So now let's take a quick look at the playoffs. So here's a look at the playoff bracket based on my regular season predictions. Genuinely, at this point in the season, I think anyone can win. I've been a somewhat vocal MLS critic in the past, but I really do enjoy the Americanized playoff structure, where one game can decide your entire season. assuming the MLS gets rid of the multi-game series, which was a horrible idea for soccer, in my opinion. But anyway, we have the Sounders and the Crew as the first seeds at the top of the brackets. We're not going to go over every single matchup here because that would be a waste of time, but after the first 2 rounds, I have Seattle facing Dallas in the Western Conference Finals, and Miami facing Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I have the 1 seed versus the 6 seeds in the West, and the 3 seed versus the 4 seed in the East. In the finals, I'm taking the star-powered Inter Miami FC to face off against the Seattle Sounders, the 3 seed from the East taking the 1 seed from the West. And as much as I would like to take Seattle in this game, it is just hard for me to believe that Miami doesn't have the tools necessary to reach and win the MLS final. So yes, very anticlimactic opinion, I know, but I'm going with Miami. Yep, you stuck around to see me pretty much pick who every odds maker and soccer analyst is picking. But in reality, barring injuries, it's just hard not to pick them. Alright guys, so that's my predictions for the 2024 MLS season. Let me know what you think. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Who do you think's gonna win? Was I way off? Was I close? Let me know what you think in the comments. We have some great content coming out here, some future content. I got some cards coming back from Tag. My wife and I are gonna do another date night. I have some other openings that I haven't uploaded yet that are awesome. We got some really good content coming and some surprises. All right guys, so it's announcement time. We actually did a collaboration with another YouTuber, or YouTubers, Braden and Yuri. They both run American Ultras Talk, which is a YouTube channel that focuses essentially on Americans abroad, US men's national team players playing in Europe. So they have an awesome channel. These guys do a great job covering Americans in Europe, or basically anywhere abroad, and they don't miss anything. They are very, very thorough. So I went on and we talked about promotion and relegation for some Americans in some of Europeans leagues, and we talked about some of the Americans still chasing for trophies this season. So I think they're chopping that into 2 different videos, and it'll post sometime this weekend, and then maybe later in the week. I don't know when they're gonna post them, but you guys need to check out their channel, American Ultras Talk. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description down here. They make awesome content. Please subscribe to them. At the very least, just go check them out and check out the videos that they're gonna drop. Your boy is gonna be in one. Awesome, thanks guys. Back to the rest of the video. So once I get some cards back from Tag, I'm having another giveaway, so please stay tuned in for that. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. As always, I really appreciate you stopping by. Please consider liking, please consider subscribing, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you guys, take care.